Well, the guys get together in Washington. Senator McConnell was asked by the press, what if the president begins to issue a flurry of executive orders without Congress? And the senator said it would be like waving a red flag in front of a bull. So I hope those bulls don't charge at each other. And really, they're trying to get together. And I think the American people would like to see them do that. Terry?
Well, the message they sent, I think, this week was that they want things done differently in Washington. And so we hope that message is here. Here's Jennifer Wishon with that story.
One day after his Democrat allies fell out of power on Capitol Hill, President Obama responded with some faint praise.
Obviously, Republicans had a good night, and they deserve credit for running good campaigns.
But if you're expecting the commander-in-chief to announce a major change of course, prepare to be disappointed.
It doesn't make me mopey. It energizes me.
Mr. Obama was resolute, defiant even, as he defended his record and administration, despite low approval ratings. He says he'll look for opportunities to work with Republicans, but when pressed, showed few signs of changing his arm's-length approach to the GOP.
What I am going to try to do as president is to make sure that I'm advancing what I think is best for the country.
He also doubled down on his plans to craft an executive order on immigration, a move sure to sour any bipartisan goodwill.
It's like waving a red flag in front of a bull to say, if you guys don't do what I want, I'm going to do it on my own. And the president's done that on Obamacare. He's done it on immigration and threatening to do it again.
Future Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he wants to make the Senate productive again and says his fellow Republicans want to address immigration reform through legislation. If they do, President Obama says he'll withdraw his executive action.
If, in fact, there is a great eagerness on the part of Republicans to tackle a broken immigration system, then they have every opportunity to do it.
As the dust settles, we're learning that values voters, including evangelicals, help propel Republicans to control the Senate. A public opinion strategies poll shows 1 out of every 3 voters was a conservative Christian.
It's larger than the African American vote, the Hispanic vote, the union vote, and the gay vote combined. So I think the message is there's no Republican wave in 2014. And there is no conceivable Republican majority in the United States without this constituency as the cornerstone of that majority.
Republicans may not stay on top long if they don't find a remedy for the main issue that sent voters to the polls: lingering economic pain. Americans plagued by the economic recession sent the president to the White House in 2008. 6 years later, exit polls show many of those same Americans feel left behind economically. And those voters supported Republicans 2-1.
Let me make it clear there will be no government shutdowns and no default on the national debt.
But as long as President Obama occupies the White House, there will be an ongoing showdown over Obamacare, with McConnell promising to try to get rid of key parts of the unpopular law.
I think we will be addressing that issue in a variety of different ways.
And the president saying he'll be on the other side of that fight.
There are certainly some lines I'm going to draw. Repeal of the law, I won't sign.
So while there's talk now of bipartisanship, there are also signs the deep divides between the two sides isn't likely to go away in the last 2 years of the Obama presidency. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, the White House.
Thanks, Jennifer. I think everybody has to keep in mind that the reason that there was a major shift in the election is that the people didn't want the Democrats, they wanted the Republicans. They didn't, that's why the Senate went from the Democrats to the Republicans. And that's why I understand that there are now more Republican legislators in the states than there have been at any time since the 1920s. And the Republicans picked up a couple of key gubernatorial races and held on to some others in some so-called blue states. It was just remarkable what they did. And for some reason, the president doesn't seem aware of it. He said, well, yeah, 1/3 of the people went to the polls and voted, but I represent the other 2/3. He does no such thing. They just didn't like him, and he won't admit it. That's, what do they call it, cognitive dissonance? There are all kinds of names they give that, but he doesn't want to admit what's there. But I think the Republicans are taking a very cautious attitude, which I think is wise. It's going to be incremental, so you don't like all of Obamacare, so you start taking the parts of it that are obnoxious and getting bills that go through the Congress with bipartisan support, and then defy the president to veto them. If he begins to veto, he's going to go down in flames. So they've got the whip handle, if I can use that term, and they're going to use it very judiciously, but I think they're going to be able to do it. And what they don't need is just a whole lot of inflammatory rhetoric. The American people want to get this country back on track, and they want to get people working. People are out of work, and it hurts when they haven't got jobs or they're underperforming what their education calls for. And they're asking for change. And the change would be you take away some of these regulatory burdens and you start lifting some of these tax burdens. And that's what the governors have done in state after state, especially in the Midwest. And you look at a guy like John Kasich in Ohio, he just swamped the opposition because the blue-collar people identify with a guy like John Kasich. He speaks their language, but it's a compassionate conservative, and it's working very, very well.